She was just a shadow on a bench, barely visible under a broken streetlight, clutching a rag doll and whispering into the cold night air. No one noticed her, no one stopped, until one man did. A millionaire on his way home from another empty meeting slowed his car and saw her. What started as a passing glance turned into a life-altering mission. But what he uncovered about this little girl's past would shock even the coldest hearts. What was a 7-year-old doing alone in a playground night after night, and who was trying so hard to keep the truth buried? Listen until the end to find out, and please also let us know which country you're listening from. Please also subscribe to our channel. Mulberry Street Park was dark, the playground empty, and the city asleep, except for one small figure huddled on a crooked bench. 7-year-old Ava Monroe, with tangled hair matted from the wind and a faded red scrunchie barely holding her ponytail together, clutched her threadbare rag doll like it was a shield against the world. Every night she drew her knees close, tucked her face beneath her collar, and whispered to the stars with a voice barely above a breath, "Mom, will you come back tonight?" Then she'd stare up at the dark sky, watching for a sign that never came, her heart beating a silent rhythm of hope and heartbreak. And every morning she vanished before the city could notice her absence. Daniel Whitmore sat in the back of his luxury black sedan, returning home from yet another lifeless business meeting. When the car slowed at a turn, his eyes landed on the same playground he used to pass as a child. Something shifted in his chest. On the bench again was the little girl, motionless but clearly alive. His driver didn't ask questions. Daniel said nothing, but the image stayed with him. Daniel's penthouse in Silver Pines condominiums had marble floors and floor-to-ceiling windows, but it echoed with silence. That night, he lay awake in his sleek, high-rise penthouse, staring at the ceiling while the city lights flickered beyond the tall windows. Ava's fragile silhouette haunted his thoughts like a ghost he couldn't escape. He could still see the way she curled up with her doll, the way the streetlights caught the worry in her sleeping face. Questions swirled in his mind like a storm. Who was this child sleeping outside in the cold? Where were her parents? Was someone searching for her, crying for her, missing her? And if not, why wasn't anyone doing something? The silence of the city now felt cruel, indifferent. He turned from side to side, unable to rest, disturbed not just by her presence, but by everyone's absence. The next night, Daniel asked his driver to pass by Mulberry Street Park again. There she was. He brought a blanket and a lunch bag, but only watched from a distance. On the third night, he stepped out. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. She didn't answer. "Are you hungry?" She looked away. When she finally spoke, it was barely a whisper. "My mom's coming back." The next evening, she was gone. Across the street, Cliff Bauer, the building manager of Silver Pines, smiled quietly from his car. He had reported Ava to social services and warned the neighborhood WhatsApp group, "Stray Child in the Park. Not safe." The residents responded with fear and complaints, not compassion. Daniel searched relentlessly. Days turned into nights, and each evening he hoped to find even a trace of her, but the bench remained empty, the streets silent. His gut told him she hadn't gone far, and he refused to give up. Finally, in a dim alley behind Greenwood Depot, where market vendors dumped unsold produce in broken crates, he spotted a small form beneath a tattered blue tarp. As he approached, the sound of shallow, labored breathing cut through the murky air. It was her, Ava, curled into herself like a forgotten bundle, her cheeks red with fever and her lips dry. She was trembling. Daniel dropped to his knees, heart thudding, and carefully scooped her up into his arms. She was light, too light, and burning with heat. Passers-by stared, some whispered, but Daniel didn't care. Cradling her tightly, he rushed back to his car, laid her gently across the back seat, and whispered, "Hang on, sweetheart." Then he floored the gas and sped straight toward Hope Valley Medical Center, praying she would hold on a little longer. To admit her, Daniel lied. "She's my niece, Ava Whitmore. Her mother passed. She's living with me." The nurse hesitated but let them through. Ava had a severe respiratory infection, likely brought on by prolonged exposure to the cold, damp streets and a weakened immune system from days without food or shelter. The doctors acted quickly, hooking her up to IV fluids and monitoring her breathing closely through the night. Daniel never left her side. As the hours crawled by and the night deepened, he gently brushed her hair from her forehead and whispered, "You're safe now." A few days later, Child Protective Services showed up. Cliff Bauer had filed a formal complaint. "We received an anonymous report about a minor in this residence," said the social worker Sharon McKay. Ava clung to Daniel's shirt. "Don't take her," he begged. But rules were rules, and the law, as cold and procedural as it often was, didn't bend for moments of emotion or unspoken bonds. She was taken, but not forgotten. Not by him. 3 days later, she escaped the shelter. Daniel found her, weak, trembling, hiding behind a sugarcane juice cart. This time, she didn't run. She got in his car, quietly, willingly. That night, she slept in his guest room. Daniel couldn't let it go. With the help of his contact at City Hall, Tom Grayson, he uncovered a report. 5 months ago, a homeless woman was hit by a car near Jefferson Square. No ID, buried without investigation. Witnesses, ignored. Child, unaccounted for. Her name was Rebecca Monroe. Ava's mother, Ava remembered. She pushed me. I fell. Then the car hit her. It was black. There was a blue ribbon on the mirror, and a man with a silver bracelet. Daniel's heart froze. The same bracelet Cliff's brother, Scott Bauer, wore. The same car described in the original complaint, the black sedan with tinted windows and chrome wheels, was now clearly linked to Scott Bauer. And yet, somehow, every official report had managed to sidestep this glaring connection. Covered up by silence, overlooked by bureaucracy, or deliberately erased by someone with enough influence to bury the truth before it could rise. Daniel hired an attorney and filed a petition to reopen the hit-and-run case. He gathered Ava's testimony, camera evidence from Oak Hill Pharmacy, donation records linking Scott Bauer to the precinct, and corrupt inspection signatures. In court, Ava said one sentence, "I want to stay with him, because with him, I exist." The judge granted Daniel temporary custody. As the words echoed through the courtroom, a visible wave of relief washed over Daniel. Ava, seated beside him, looked up at him with wide, uncertain eyes. Daniel placed a reassuring hand over hers, and for the first time in weeks, she allowed a small, hesitant smile to form. But Cliff fought back. He spread rumors, shared a video of Daniel out of context. Posts appeared on neighborhood Facebook groups. Millionaire hides a runaway girl. Daniel was asked to take a leave from his firm, yet the public turned. Ava gave an interview. "He saw me. He didn't walk away." That one line reached thousands. Support poured in. Cliff resigned. Scott was arrested after car shop testimony proved he'd repaired a damaged sedan days after the accident. Ava's adoption was finalized months later, quietly, without cameras. She chose a yellow paint color for her new room. Daniel packed her lunch for school every day. On weekends, they ate ice cream on the curb. One day, she handed him a shoebox of her memories and said, "Now you're part of it." Daniel smiled. "And you're my favorite part." Now that the truth is out and Ava finally has a place to call home, let us ask you this. If you saw a child alone on a park bench tonight, would you stop? Or would you keep walking like everyone else did? Please share with us your honest thoughts and opinions in the comments below. And thank you so much for listening to Storyline Narratives.